What's up, Internet? My name's Nerdy.
And I'm Clarouche.
We get Nerdy Nightly.
And we thought we'd share it with you.
That's right. All right, we're back for another Friday edition of the Nightly Morning Show, the 95th. 95 edition of the Nightly Morning Show here on twitch.tv/nerdynightly. If you're watching live, hi. If you're watching later on the YouTube feed or listening to our podcast feed, thank you so much. Mm-hmm. But also, please know you can come join us live. Be in the chat. We do this Monday through Friday for one more week only. Mm-hmm. Then we're going weekly, Monday mornings, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
30.
That'll be the official show. But if you want to come watch live, we do a pre-show. Talk about things. In our pre-show today, we kind of started to get into our cruise ship stories.
Yes.
For those of you who don't know, Clarouche and I met working on a cruise ship called the Norwegian Bliss. Mm-hmm. And it was blissful. Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes. Mm-hmm.
Norwegian's going to be like, what do they mean? Norwegian Cruise Lines definitely watches our show.
Oh, totally. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they definitely know that we do this.
What?
They're
okay,
totally invested in us.
Our chat wants to know, like, some crazy cruise ship stories. So, we were only on the ship 6 weeks.
Yeah, it's supposed to be 6 months, and then COVID.
Yeah.
Oh man, some crazy cruise ship stories. I mean, like, definitely the day that sticks out in my head is the one where we rehearsed literally all day until 1:30 at night. Like 1:30 p.m. And then had to be at immigration at 6 a.m. the next day.
But we didn't rehearse all day. We had to be up at 8 a.m. for...
training.
I think it was... Oh, okay. No, this is the crazy day. So we had to be up. We had to be in this, like, lecture hall at, like, 8:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Because when you get on a cruise ship as an employee, you have to take all these classes on, like, fire...
You have to pass tests that are, like, safety and workplace hazard stuff.
So we wake up, and it's, like, 8:30 in the morning. We rehearsed until midnight the night before. We are all exhausted, and we sit down in this room, and a security officer is like, all right... So we're going to talk today about how ships sink. And then proceeds to give... It's way too early. It gives a 2-hour lesson on every time cruise ships have sunk in history.
Yeah. Like the one time that the, like, captain and his, like, crew just abandoned the ship and left all the passengers to get off of it.
And a guitarist saved the day.
There were two musicians. There's, like, the guitarist and the drummer, I think. Managed to get everybody off the ship and nobody died. After the captain and the officers grabbed their luggage and abandoned ship.
Yeah, but it was literally just a morning of, like,
all
videos and photos of
ships
tragedies
blowing up, people dying, and we were like, oh my god. Like,
and you could just feel like the energy in the room, because, you know, the majority of our cast had never been on a cruise ship before, and those people who had worked on a Norwegian cruise ship before didn't have to take these classes because they took them once before. So it was just all these people who have never been on a cruise ship before, literally sitting in chairs being like, can we not do this, please?
Yeah.
And what was weird to me is none of the information they gave us felt like it would save our lives in an actual emergency.
No, it was basically...
It didn't feel useful.
Look at all these ships that sunk and people died.
So we had trainings until, like, I think it was like 4 hours. So I think it was like 12:30. And then at 1:30 we started rehearsals. We rehearsed for 12 hours. Yeah.
1:30 to 1:30, 12 hours. We had a dinner break.
We did have a dinner break where they brought us a cart of cold chicken and fruit. Yeah. It was great.
It was great.
And then we had to go to bed because we had to be up at 6:30 in the morning. We had to be up
there.
Yeah.
At 6 or 6:30.
We had to be there at 6:30.
Yeah.
But everyone told us to get there early for immigration so that we didn't have to wait in line. Because when you work on a cruise ship, you have to give them your passport. You can't keep your passport.
Yeah.
So it was insane. It was honestly... And then after immigration, we had to rehearse again. Yeah. Oh, it was awful. It was so bad.
It was a nightmare.
Oh, it was so bad.
But there's so many, like, weird things about cruise ships that you don't know until you go work on it. Like...
We had to take a drug class.
Yes.
Where they basically explained every way to sneak drugs onto a cruise ship.
Yeah.
And there was a point where I turned to the people in my row and I was like, is this like a do not do or a how to do? You know what I mean? Like, I was like, I feel like I could be a really good drug smuggler now. that this security officer has explained how to get around our security systems, the most traditional ways of getting around our security systems.
Yeah. Rebel, there are so many things about cruise ships that, like, you don't know. These, like, all these crazy safety tests you have to do, these certificates that you have to get, that you have to pass. It's, like, it's a whole other world. Like, it's, yeah, the whole thing about the, like, dead bodies, like, the morgue and, like, the ice cream freezer.
Oh, yeah.
So
if you're ever on a cruise ship and there's a surprise ice cream social, what that means is that too many people died on your cruise and the morgue is full, and so they had to pull the ice cream out of the big freezer to put dead bodies in there.
Yeah. So that's how you know at least 3 people died, because they have room for 2, at least on the ship that we were on. And then if a 3rd person dies, you get ice cream. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. We had a in the drug training, there was a point where the security guy started to point to people, and he was just like, "How many shoes did you bring? How many shoes did you bring?" And then one of the girls in our class, he was like, "How many shoes did you bring?" And she was like, 12 pairs. And he turned to the class and he was like, "See, men, this is why you don't get married." And he, like, pointed at her. And we were all sitting there like, what is happening?
That was...
Oh my god. And she handled it like a champ. Like, she's...
Yeah, she was like...
She's got more spine than any human I know. But, my god, truly. I was like... We were all just sitting there like...
We're like, what is happening?
She might kill him.
Oh,
like, he doesn't know that she might kill him.
No. I would not have put it past her. If she had, like... Yeah.
I would have helped her hide the body, too. Like, I would have been like, that was justified. Yeah, that seems fair.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, it's weird things, like they put laxatives in all the food. So that the...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe. Allegedly.
No, that's, like, pretty common knowledge.
I know.
That's...
I don't want to get sued.
No, you can't get sued. You can find this stuff online.
Did we sign any NDAs?
No, and you can find this online. They were very public about, there's laxatives in all the foods, because if the pipes get clogged, it's very expensive and it shuts down the ship.
And people, and like if they get clogged at sea, like people can die. Yeah, it's very dangerous.
So pretty much all the food on cruise ships has a little bit of laxative in it, which is terrible for you. But
yeah, it's not so bad when you like are there for a week. It's stuff that only really affects you when you're eating it every day.
Every day for months.
And it's interesting, right? Because we had the majority of the crew on the ship that we were working on were Filipino, and they a lot of the people in that position were in those positions are like they're people who work on cruise ships a lot, and they kind of bounce from ship to ship to ship to ship to ship, and they're on ships so much that they there's chlorine in the water and the food isn't great, and so they feel the effects of it in a different way because they've been on the ships for so long. And it is interesting talking with them about the things that they do to mitigate those problems.
Yeah.
Like, they don't shower with the ship water.
Yeah.
They shower with bottled water because they know that, like, the chlorine in the water literally makes you start to lose your hair after a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, it's just weird. It's a weird world. It's a world unto itself.
Yeah.
It's its own thing completely.
Yeah.
And, it's fun, and like there's great things about working on cruise ships.
For sure. Like we got to travel a lot, see some really amazing places. We got to perform. Like it's not like cruise ships are all bad, but there's just a lot of like things that like you don't think about.
Yeah.
When it comes to ship life.
It's also it is when you're working on the cruise ship, you live in these like they're like metal hallways essentially, and noise really travels, and everyone is sleeping with everyone because you're at sea and there's nothing else to do, and so it just is really interesting because it'll be like 1:00 in the afternoon and you'll be coming back to your like room from lunch, and you'll just like walk past like 2 or 3 different rooms where you're like, well, they're having fun.
Yeah.
Oh, they're also having fun.
Yeah.
Oh, my friend is having fun. I wonder who with today.
Yeah. Cruise ship life.
Cruise ship life.
Oh, man. And you gotta, like, get it when you can get it because some people share rooms.
Yeah.
Not people in, like, the cast. You know, the performers got at least their own little cabin, but other people who work on the ship, like in the shops and the restaurants and stuff, they actually share rooms. They have a bunk bed.
So I was talking with a woman who was working. She sold watches in like the shops area of the ship.
Yeah.
And I was talking with her, and she's like, "Oh, you're this track in your show." I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Man, I miss your you replaced my boyfriend." And I was like, "What?" She's like, "Yeah, I was dating the person in your track before. It sucks because the room that she has a bunk bed, and sleeping in his room with him, she didn't have to share with someone other than him, obviously. And she's like, I'm gonna miss it. And I was like, so this is my girlfriend. Hi. I'm sorry about your bunk situation.
Oh God. Yeah, ship life. It's something else.
It's weird. You also technically have to work 7 days a week.
Yeah.
Which is super weird. Like it's weird. Mm-hmm. It's very odd. Very, very odd. Muddles40 says, and if a crime happens, they technically have to get police from the country to the ship is registered, and that is usually a tax haven. Actually, Muddles, it depends on where you're docked. So sometimes it's whatever your country the ship is registered to, if you're like in the middle of the ocean. But when you're within I think it's like 10 nautical miles of a country, when you're just off the coast, you're technically within whatever laws that country has. Mm-hmm. And that was really important because there are certain countries in the Caribbean that have like very strict drug laws and stuff like that.
Yes.
Where you have to be careful.
Yeah, so if you docked in New York and you managed to get some weed onto the ship, for example, and you brought it with you to Nassau, mm-hmm. you would get jailed. They would haul you off to jail.
Even if you were on the ship. If they caught you with the marijuana while on the ship, they have to turn you into the Nassau police when they disembark you. Yeah. They can't like keep you on the ship until New York. Yeah. So it's like the one thing that we like have to really reiterate to the guest, especially because of how prevalent like marijuana and stuff is in the States now, is like, don't do this. Yeah. Whatever you do, don't do this. It's bad. Yeah. It was interesting. It was a wild time. There was great times though. Like, you know, we opened the show and like doing Jersey Boys was so fun. Norwegian treated us really well. Yeah. They did their best, even in letting us go and like the struggle around getting us home and getting us off the ship. Like it was really, it was definitely tough for a lot of reasons, and they did their best. And you know, I think in the moment we were I was definitely like, oh, they should be doing more for us, and like in the moment I was like upset because I was also scared, and it was like a dangerous situation. Yeah, in the moment it was frustrating, but like looking back now, this was so unprecedented. Nobody knew how to deal with this kind of thing on such a massive scale. Yeah, and so you know I think they did their best. Yeah, you know, and we were only stuck on the cruise ship 10 days. There were people who we knew who were on other ships that were stuck on there for months. Mm-hmm. Or people even on our ship. Because the performers all get sent home because we're expensive, right? Yeah, but there are people on our ship who, you know, were stuck there for weeks, sometimes months. You know, one person from our cast who was from South Africa took her 2 months to get home. Yeah. Yeah, it was wild. Yeah, it was interesting. Mm-hmm. It's a whole world. If you ever get the opportunity to like go on a cruise, maybe don't, but
that's up to you.
It is tough, right? Because it's a really like it is an industry that has some labor is questionable as far as labor, and that is a complicated thing, and that's up to you. And we're you know, I don't know. Yeah, it's tough. You know, what they've managed to do is kind of incredible in certain ways, but it's also, you know, there's sacrifices to be made for it. Azure says, were we stuck on there? So what happened was we were let go on, we were called, so here's what actually happened. We were all hanging out one day, and Norwegian reported on CNN that they were shutting down operations. Yeah. At that point, we hadn't heard anything. Yeah. And so we were all very confused because the line that we had heard was that we were going ahead, we were picking up new guests. This was a Wednesday. We were going to be picking up new guests in New York on Sunday, and we were just charging ahead. Because at this point, the only ship that had cases was the Princess Diamond, right?
I don't know, something like that.
The one that everyone heard about, the one that had to be disembarked, and it was a whole thing. Then we tried to get information all day, and like they were like, we don't know anything, just wait till tomorrow, please. And we were like, all right. So Thursday morning comes, we get called into a meeting, and we're all let go because reasons. We were going to get paid until the day we stepped off of the ship, and then given 2 weeks severance after that.
Yeah.
And at this point, they were like, all right, so we're going to try and get you off as soon as possible. The plan is to have everybody back on April 10th. So we're literally going to fly you home for like a month. It's going to be super quick. And then we tried to dock in New York, but New York wouldn't let us. So we got to New York on Sunday.
We got to New York, and the guests got off, but we are not allowed off the ship.
Yeah.
And so the ship then just hangs out in the harbor for 2 days, and New York freaks out. Because people started being like, oh my god, there's a cruise ship with COVID in the harbor. Yeah. And, people were upset. Well, so we had to leave.
There was like a news story that circulated that like our ship was there for people to transport COVID patients to it, and that we were going to be like a COVID hospital, which wasn't true.
Yeah, it was, so we had to leave, even though we probably had COVID on the ship. Most likely.
That we cannot confirm.
We cannot confirm.
So then we started to sail south, and we were gonna. This is where things got like weird, because every like 6 hours we were going to a new location.
Yeah.
We were going to Norfolk, Virginia, and then we got to Norfolk, Virginia, and they wouldn't let us. The CDC said we couldn't dock there, and that we weren't going to be allowed to dock in the States.
Yeah.
So then we started to head to the Timony Islands.
Yeah.
The Timony Islands. Too many other cruise ships got there first, so we weren't allowed there anymore, so we were just at sea, drifting.
Yeah.
Then we were going to go to South Carolina. We got we got close enough to South Carolina that I had cell service for a while, which was fantastic.
Yeah,
really appreciated my Verizon coverage a mile off of the coast of South Carolina. And then South Carolina we were allowed to, and so then the CDC said that we were allowed to go to Miami, but we couldn't dock. We had to be next to the dock.
Yeah.
And so there was like 10 cruise ships lined up in Miami, just like one in front of the other, and the Norwegian Encore?
Oh, it might have been.
We were right behind another Norwegian ship that people in our cast knew. So we would like go on the front of our ship, and they would come on the back of their ship, and we'd just be like waving at each other. They were playing laser tag. Yeah. Our ship shut everything down. Their ship was still going. I was pissed about that.
Their ship was still having like fun activities, and our ship shut down. Like you weren't allowed.
They closed the pool. They closed the go-kart. I was like, let us drive the go-karts.
They closed most of the guest areas. Like we were allowed. We had scheduled times that we were allowed to go and eat, and then otherwise we basically had to be in our cabin pretty much the whole time. Like or there were a few places we were allowed to hang out in like crew areas, but yeah, it was.
And at this point, This was really stressful time for us because we'd only been dating 5 weeks. We were dating for a month the day that we got, like, our 1 month anniversary was the day we got let go, right? And so we knew that we were going to end up flying somewhere, and neither of us had an apartment anymore.
I didn't have a place in Toronto. David didn't have a place in New York.
And so we were both, like, in this weird position where we were going to be homeless, and so to understand how quickly we moved, before we started, like 4 days before we started dating, I told Clarisse that I was in love with her, right? And there were reasons why she didn't say anything back for a while. It's fine. We got to where we got to, but then we got let go a month after, we started dating, and I was like, hey, my parents have a house in Calgary that has a bedroom. Do you want to come move in with my parents and me after we'd been dating for a month?
Okay, it's not that I didn't say anything back. It was like, I have things that I need to deal with before we can deal with this.
Yes.
Is the polite way to say it.
Is the polite way to say that, yeah. And so... so literally like a month after we started dating, I was like, all right, do you want to come move in with me and my parents?
Yeah.
Sarah B, thank you for those biddies. This is the weirdest nightly morning show ever.
Yeah, it's not really the nightly morning show. It's more like, this is how we went on a cruise ship and started dating, and cruise ship stories.
Yeah, and so we moved in together.
And we lived with his parents for 6 months.
Yeah, and so since we started dating, there's only been 3 nights that we haven't slept in the same bed. Since the day that we started dating, there's only been 3 nights that we haven't slept in the same bed.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first one was because I was, Azurbi, thank you for gifting us up to Frankenbeans.
Thank you so much.
The first time was because I was super seasick, and I didn't want to, like, be seasick on Clarus while she was sleeping. The second one was the night before we got married, and the third one was the night that I went to New York to get my stuff. Like, those are the 3 nights we have not slept in the same bed in over a year.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, so I was like, do you want to move in with my parents for the month? And then we'll come back to the ship April 10th, it'll be fine.
Yep.
Then my Canadian passport was expired and the border to Canada was closed.
Oh my god, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, we got off the ship and we got driven to the airport. And I had, and I had no Canadian ID except for my Canadian birth certificate. And I needed to convince them to let me cross the border with nothing but a Canadian birth certificate. And so Air Canada was like, dude, the border's closed to Americans. And I was like, I know, I am Canadian, I just don't have a passport. So they called up, like, the Department of Defense or something, and an affiliate with the Department of Defense asked me all of these questions. Like, literally everything you could ever know about a human. Where I went to high school, like, every address I lived at in Calgary, all my old passport number from before, all these things. And finally, he was like, all right, thank you for all that information. Please give the phone back to the Air Canada person. And I was like, all right. And they had already gone through security because they had to. Like,
David was like, go. He's like, go stay with my parents if I don't make it. And I was like...
So my parents were literally going to pick up my girlfriend of a month.
Just in case David didn't make it through. Because we had no idea. Like,
our literal plan was for Ariel to move in with my parents in quarantine. Like, Ariel was going to be in quarantine in my parents' room by herself, being like, my parents were going to deliver her meals. And
God, I'm so glad you made it through.
My plan was to, like, fly to, like, Montana, buy a flight to Montana, and then drive across the border, because I thought I could drive across. But this Air Canada woman was like, no, you can make it. And I'm, like, crying. I'm like, oh no, this is going to be the worst, like, travel day of my life. God.
Seeing you, like, come towards me happy was, like, the most relieved I've ever felt, ever.
So it worked out, and I got through. Canada stepped up and was like, yeah, of course you're Canadian. Come on, son.
Thank God.
Come on. And I was like, thank you, Canada. And then, we moved in with my parents.
And then, got married.
Yeah.
Hi, Jujubee. Jujubee has a similar story.
Really?
9.5 months, and then they got married.
Yeah, we got married at 7 months. A little over 7 months.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, before we started dating, David was like, I'm in love with you. And, like, a week after we started dating, he's like, look, I'm pretty sure I want to marry you. So,
I did say that.
We kind of knew where this was headed all along.
Well, we had to, right? Because I was living in New York at the time. Yeah. And Clarus was living in Toronto.
Yeah, so I was like, well, we were like, if this is going to work, we got to do something.
Yeah. Well,
otherwise we can't stay together.
Yeah, and, like, the original plan was that we were going to move to New York together. But realistically, like, I can work in Canada and she can't work in the States. So it just became, like, it makes more sense for us to be here, but...
Yeah. Yeah. Who knows where we'll end up?
Azur says, on our first date, I told my husband I would never marry. His mind, challenge accepted.
When we became friends, so we re-met after 10 years for rehearsals. And when we were still friends, both of us were like, yeah, never gonna get married. Marriage, not my thing. Dave was like, never gonna get married. Not into marriage.
Muddles, I'm glad you liked our wedding. Here's the thing. I didn't want to get married before I met you. Because, like, none of the relationships I'd been in the past made it seem like marriage would ever, like, really make sense to me. Mm-hmm. Like, it was my relationship with you that made marriage make sense. Aww. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Before that, I was like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I'm Gucci. I don't need this. I'm a red-blooded man who does red-blooded man things.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it worked out.
Oh my god.
It worked out, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And
now we have an internet entertainment company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here we are.
And an OnlyFans. I'm trying to do my makeup. Don't make me freaking cry.
Sorry.
Sorry, Gobbles.
Gobbles?
Yeah, Gobbles the Goblin.
I love that.
She probably hates it. She's gonna be like, never say Gobbles ever again.
Oh, God. And it took 5 minutes.
Is that a knife? What is in that emote? You could go back and forth with the driver's license. You can still drive across the border with a driver's license.
It's a knife. It's a murder emote, yeah.
You need a passport to fly, but you can drive with just a driver's license.
Yeah, the problem is the drive from Toronto to New York is like 8 hours.
Yeah, and so I drove, because when I drove to New York, even with the border closed, I just had to show my driver's license. Mm-hmm. No, that's a lie. I had to show my passport to go into the States. Because I had to prove I was American, and I had a Canadian driver's license at that point.
Right. Potomsian, we actually, when we met a couple on the ship, actually, and they told us their story, and it was literally that they went on, they were on a date where they were set up, and basically he was like, yep, this is the one, and like proposed.
They got married 11 days after the first date?
Later, yeah, and they've been married for like 25, 30 years or something?
No, 50...
They were not that old.
Yeah, they were. They were retired and, like, cruise ship people.
Oh, right.
They were celebrating, like, their 50th anniversary, I think?
Yeah.
Or maybe it was his 50th birthday.
Oh, I think it was his 50th birthday, and I think it was, like, their, like, 30-something like that.
Yeah, they've been married. They got married, like, at, like, 19, 11 days after they met. Yeah. And they were so sweet. They were very kind to us.
Yeah.
That's one of the fun things about being a performer is, especially like doing like a cruise ship show where you get to know people, or like doing a regional show in a small town, is that like all of the like locals are so nice to you.
Yeah.
I was doing a show in Colorado, and there was this coffee place right next to the theater that I would go before rehearsals. And, like, people were always buying my coffee. I'm like, guys, I have money. Like, I'm not... I know I'm an artist, but I'm not, like, that broke. And they're like, no. We love the show. Let's buy your scone. And I was like, all right, thanks.
Sure, thank you.
I'll take the blueberry one. Should we do the nerd news 27 minutes into the show?
Yeah, sorry. We've got a little bit of news, at least, we can talk about.
I'm trying to think, did we miss any of the good stories? That we can tell? There's a few we can't tell.
You're fine. We probably missed some, but like I'm sure it'll come up in one of our streams.
Yeah, it was wild. It was a wild time.
It was.
Y'all, GameStop's funny story. I grew up in an extremely conservative small town in Alabama. Where in Alabama? You refused to go into your husband's bedroom for like a month after I'd moved in.
Aww, sure.
Sure.
David's family's from Alabama.
Yeah, from Birmingham and Mobile.
Yeah.
My mom was born in Birmingham. My mother was born in Birmingham. And yeah, Keith Gill, aka Deep Effin' Value, from the subreddit Wall Street Bets, is testified before Congress yesterday. Speaking before the U.S. Committee on Financial Services, he presented himself as a hobbyist investor, not a hedge fund or professional investment firm that provides investment advice for fees or commissions. And this is just the interesting next step in this whole thing, where there might be legal consequences for some of the people involved in the Wall Street Bet situation.
Yeah. Yeah, it's complicated. I mean, you let me know that, like, obviously it is illegal to be a professional and manipulate the market in a certain way. So, yeah, basically, if he wants to get out of this scot-free, he's got to be able to convince people that he's not a professional.
Mm-hmm. It is interesting. Like, here's the tough thing. I don't really even know how to talk about this, right? But, because I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. But it is fascinating to see that Congress getting involved. There are some people that are suing. There are some like securities things that are like suing, I guess. And there might be like big legal consequences for some of the people who incited the Wall Street manipulation of the GameStop stock. Especially, and what's going to be interesting about this is they did it intentionally.
Yep.
They posted about doing it intentionally.
Yeah, that's
and then
not in question.
After it, they bragged about doing it intentionally. And so there is almost an argument to be made that, like, if you knew that what... I don't even know if it matters if they knew what they were doing was illegal. Yeah. But I feel like there are some people who probably did illegal things in this whole GameStop situation. Because it wasn't just buy and hold, right? Mm-hmm. Like, this was a very intentional... Like, we saw that these people had shorted this stock. Therefore, we need you all to manipulate this. I'm really curious to see what happens here. Because if there are any legal consequences for any of the people involved, there's going to be a lot of very upset people who are claiming, like, this is the elite, cracking down on the lower class. And, like, there's going to be... there's going to be a fight about this. There's going to be a lot of very upset folks out there if any of these people face consequences for what happened, because this was seen as a, Robin Hood, redistribution of wealth kind of thing. Yeah. At the same time, I don't understand what's illegal about it, really, because I'm not a lawyer, but, like, if it was illegal, then these people have every right to sue, Like, it's not like... Yeah. I don't know, it's going to be really... Yeah. It's going to be really interesting to watch. People
are going to be upset no matter what the technicalities of the situation are. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So...
but now, watching it all happen was kind of fun. But now watching this, it's not going to be fun, but this is just as interesting to me because I have no idea what comes next.
Less fun, but still just as interesting.
Yeah. 100%. The situation is going... I'm worried this is going to get out of control really quickly. Yeah. And, there's it's times like these where I'm like, oh, I'm not a part of this, and that's great.
Yeah, I'm kind of like, oh, thank God. Like, a week ago, I was like, why didn't I invest in GameStop? And now I'm like,
And it's one thing, like, here's the thing. People who made some money off of this is fine. This deep effing value guy made $7.8 million. And there's a part of me that's like, I know that he, like, even if it's a whole Robin Hood thing, making $7.8 million by doing illegal things is still illegal, even if it looks from the outside like it's a Robin Hood. Mm-hmm. Even if it looks from the outside like it is, like, morally okay. If it breaks the law, it still breaks the law. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. It's weird. Wargamester says, I know lots of people have been fined millions of dollars and spent time in jail for manipulation, so the law applies to the rich too. See, that's the thing. Like, if it was a bunch of people who made, like, $30,000, I don't think this conversation would be the same. But because this guy made $7.8 million, I feel at least... I'm glad people are at least looking into it.
Yeah, and who knows? Like, maybe this does bring around some change, so that this kind of thing...
Why... Someone explained to me why shorting is legal. Why shorting a stock is legal.
I don't know.
I don't think it should. Even with the explanation, I don't think it should be. But
yeah, like, there's just so many things about this, and I'm like, wait, you can do that? Yeah. Like, I'm like, huh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the stock market has kind of gotten out of hand a little bit. And, like, I watched The Big Short again recently, and it just reminded me that, like, the stock market is a mess. Yeah. And the last line of The Big Short is that, like, what caused the housing crisis in 2008 is happening again, and that's a mess. Yeah. And I'm not excited to see if that happens all over again, because 2008 was very bad. Yeah. But I don't know. The stock market, I don't know. Can we tone it down? Yeah. I know people want to be rich, but can we be a little less rich and a little bit more stable as a society?
A little less rich and a little more stable. Yeah.
This is why I'm Canadian. I'm like, can we, like, just have healthcare and, like, can we have, like, a decent amount of money, but, like, not, like, a ridiculous amount of money?
Yeah. I don't need a lot. I just, like...
I really don't. I need a house and a good internet connection.
That's it. That's all I need.
You know what I mean? Like, and, like, access to food. Yeah. I don't need a Lamborghini. Even if I was rich, I don't... Like, what would I do with it?
God, I would never... I wouldn't even touch it. I wouldn't even breathe on it.
Granted, I would have an electric vehicle if I could own... If I could afford one, I would buy electric.
Yeah.
Because, honestly, there's some really cool electric cars. cars. I don't...
They're nice.
Like,
they look cool.
The problem with Tesla is that Tesla keeps doing things that I'm like, that's dope. But then they also keep doing things that I'm like, oh, that sucks.
That's not cool.
And like, I'm like, what do you do?
Yeah.
That's what the majority of Earth wants. Exactly, Azorbi.
Yeah. Can we just like feel a little bit of security? That would be nice.
I don't even need financial stability. I just need to not have student loan debt anymore. If I just didn't have student loan debt, do you know how much more spring there would be in my step?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my god, I would be dancing.
I'd be weightless. Oh god. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, when we were getting married, there was the day where we were like, so how much student loan debt do you have? And we were both, it was like watching two outlaws at high noon staring each other down like, how much student loan debt do you have? Why don't you go first, partner? How much student loan debt do you have? Well, I asked you first, partner. How much student loan debt?
You went to Pace. I had an idea of how much debt you had. Yeah.
But I don't have to pay it back till the end of September. Thanks, Biden.
Biden. Yeah, mine are on hold right now as well, thankfully.
Yeah,
because otherwise, yoinks.
We'd be in a bad situation.
Yeah.
Oh my god, hashtag thanks Biden. Get it trending, y'all.
Trending. Thanks, Biden.
Thanks, Biden. That's so funny. I just came up with that. That might be the funniest original thought I've ever had.
Wow.
It's not even that original because it's like a joke on a joke, but
I think it's funny. It's a nice twist on it.
I guarantee someone else has already done it, but I'm claiming this joke is mine.
Yeah.
Thanks, Biden is mine. I'm gonna have to get it trending on TikTok.
Just make a sound.
All right. In Steam news that I found very funny. So on Steam, if you scroll down on the right side of a game, it says the review scores, and the best review scores that you can get is an aggregate called Very Positive.
Yeah.
And the developer name is right underneath the review scores, and so Steam and Valve have banned a developer who named their studio Very Positive in order to make it look like their games were getting very positive reviews in order to sell more games.
Wait, that was the sole purpose of naming it that?
Yeah, so look at that.
Wow.
So if you don't really look,
If you don't really look, yes, it looks like...
It looks like they got very positive reviews. And my favorite part about this is an anonymous developer from Emoji Evolution, which is the game that that Very Positive Studios made, said this in an interview with IGN.
Oh, God.
Said this in an interview to Vice. I noticed that the publisher-developer name is located really close to the reviews and has the same color, and I decided to use it for my purposes. Valve has banned my developer account due to the review manipulations. Absolutely disagree with this accusation. But here's the thing. He told Vice, he disagrees with this, but he also told Vice that that's the exact reason why he did it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think this is brilliant. I think it's very dumb, but I think it's very brilliant.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm, kind of mad that he got banned, because, don't ban him. Give him a chance to change the name.
Yeah, he could change the name,
Force him to change the name, sure. But and maybe he's, temp banned until he changes the name.
Maybe. But what if you, changed it? What if then he changed it to something that looked, very positive? What's, a letter that looks... he changed the I to an L or something like that? So that if you looked...
So it's...
quickly...
It's very puzzle tolve.
Yeah. But
my reviews are very puzzle tolve. I'll create a new pseudonym, New York Times bestseller.
Oh,
that's funny.
I love it. I love
that.
But
then every time you go to a book signing or anything, Dark Dispatch, people are gonna be like, "So Knit, how did you feel about writing this section of your book?"
Oh God, that's not bad.
Tom Sam says, "Fix your interface, Val." I actually like the Steam interface.
It's
Am I the
fine.
only one? Steam is aesthetically pleasing to me.
Okay, it's fine.
I find scrolling through, unlike a lot of stores, like the Nintendo eShop, don't even get me started on how poorly laid out the Nintendo eShop is. I hate it so much. I just want to buy your games, Nintendo. I just want to give you my money, and you make it so hard to find things that aren't like bestsellers.
Yeah.
But Steam, I enjoy scrolling through Steam. And just Steam, I find things. Bad Bunny Games. Muddles is gonna start a game studio.
Oh my god, yes.
I like the store. Epic Games Store, which Azure brought up. Like, I can't find anything in there.
It also gives you, like, notifications on your desktop that you have to exit. And
all the time.
Pisses me off.
Yeah.
Epic, I have a bone to pick with you. Don't you mess up my screen.
I think there's a way to turn that off. We also need to turn off... I get so many Netflix notifications on the desktop, and I hate them.
Know. Like, leave me alone.
Like, I know The Crew is on Netflix.
What do you mean nobody can pronounce Rattan?
I think people call her Rutten.
Alright.
If I read that name, I would say Rutten.
Really?
Yeah, I wouldn't say Rattan.
Alright.
Yeah, I would say Rutten at first. Like, I know it's Rattan because you said that. But...
I guess so, yeah, I guess.
I don't really use Steam Workshop unless it's updating, purchasing, and installing a game. I scroll through Steam a lot. So, y'all, I actually want to talk about Steam for a second.
Okay.
I've been getting recommended some adult games lately, Steam, and I don't know why.
Because we played the KFC dating simulator.
No, this was before that. Remember that, I don't want to say the full name, but remember that one that was like the diner? It had diner in the title, but that's not the first word. I showed it to you and I was like...
Oh, yeah.
Steam has the Dine and Dash! Oh my god, Chaotic Goblin got the same one! There's a part of me that wants to buy it and play it and make a YouTube video about it.
Yeah. I don't... Yeah. I'm like, why would you think I would be interested in this? Maybe they just, like, are getting paid to, like, really push the game.
Maybe? I don't understand.
It's very confusing.
It's not... It's only, like, a $13 game. Like, I don't... Yeah, it's very confusing.
I feel like if it's a price that's low, people will see it enough and be like, okay, fine, I'll pick it up.
No, this game is wildly sexual. It is a porn video game. Like, I don't know if, like, Steam changed its, like, terms of service, but I feel like I never used to see porn games on Steam, and now I'm getting, like, recommended them on the front page. I don't even have to, like, click... Look, if you want... I have no problem with there being adult games on Steam.
Yeah,
no
that's
problem.
fine.
You have an OnlyFans. We have no problem with adult content.
Yeah.
What I have a problem with is that Steam is a video game platform that has a lot of kids on it. Put those behind a tab. You should have to click on an adult tab in order to get into those. Well, at the very least.
I think you have to confirm your age when you sign up for Steam.
Yeah, but like if I'm on my dad's account and I'm 13 or younger, if I'm just on Steam and my dad signed in, I shouldn't be getting... The front page should not be sex games.
Yeah, see, Goblin said it didn't ask if she was over 18 to see it, but then it blocked his until she confirmed her age.
That is hilarious.
Right? I added that little bit on the end.
That is assuming that's so hilarious. Yeah, you can look at porn, but you can't shoot people.
Yeah.
Don't you dare very slowly stab someone with a pencil. But here, look at this giant penis game.
Oh, God.
I will never understand it.
Oh, interesting. Okay. It wasn't Hitman, but it was like a similar game.
Steam still asks your age whenever you click on a horror game. Interesting.
Weird.
Yeah. Anyway, Steam, what the heck? I'm not going to play the maybe I'll play the Dine and Dash game.
Oh, God.
If I were to play the Dine and Dash game in, like, a Let's Play,
I
would have to, like, blur out the screen, right?
Would you for Twitch? I
don't
know.
No. Oh, no, it's a sex game. How would I do it? No, I want to make a YouTube video out of it.
Oh.
But I'd have to blur all the penises and stuff, right?
Yeah.
This might be a project, but I kind of want to do it just because every time I open Steam, literally every time I open Steam, it is like in the first 5 things I see, is the Dine and Dash. I don't want to say the first word because I might get in trouble. Just replace them all with eggplant emojis. That's funny.
Could do that. And all the butts with peaches.
That would be a lot of work.
It would.
But it's not a motion game. Interesting.
Oh, we're gonna be so busy.
I kind of want to make this video. Time for David to start a Pornhub or OnlyFans for that game.
Just for that game.
Is there a sex version of Twitch that people play like porn games on?
Probably.
I wonder, it says a lot about me as a married man that I don't know. If I was single, I feel like I would know the answer to that question.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
What? You're all I need. I got you, baby. Look at how attractive my wife is. What? You're hot.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Is there anything to stop people playing games on ChatterBait?
I don't know. I don't know what the legality of that is.
I don't know either. Interesting.
Guys, we're gonna do some research.
Wargamer says there are some streaming services not to be confused with publishers like Twitch that do not regulate content at all. Okay, so there are places where you can do that. Interesting.
Okay.
Rockmage, please don't link to porn sites in the morning show. If there isn't, you should start one, David. Here's the thing.
Wow.
I'm not sure that I want to be known as the person who started that, but at the same time, I feel like it would be successful.
Yeah.
If you could get, attractive girls clothed to play... This is so bad, but,
to play...
I feel like it would make money.
Porn video games? Yeah.
It would be gross.
People would pay to watch that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. We're all 18 here. I got back.
Well, you have to be. This is an 18+ stream, so.
Yeah, you have to confirm your age.
All right, y'all. That's the end of the show. This was the weirdest morning show yet, by far.
By far.
If this was your first morning show on YouTube, go watch another one so that you understand what the morning show is, because this is not our traditional morning show.
I'm so sorry.
This is a Friday morning show where things get weird,
Mm-hmm.
and we talk about businesses we might start in the near future.
Yeah, sure. Mm-hmm.
All right, y'all. And with that, my name's Nerdy.
And I'm Clarus.
Do something nerdy tonight.
Bye.
Bye.